Okay, so welcome to the second episode of We See You podcast powered by AZ Wyco, Arizona Young Credit Union Professionals. Today, I have the pleasure to speak with Wendy Bojórquez from Arizona Financial Credit Union. Wendy, can you please start by introducing yourself and how you got into the credit union movement?
Yeah, of course. So again, my name is Wendy Bojórquez. My role at Arizona Financial Credit Union is Learning and Development Specialist. I actually used to work for a big bank before, and it was the first time that I had worked for a financial institution, and I really liked that one-on-one, interaction
Mm-hmm.
with customers. But there was just a couple of things that I did not like when it came to
Mm-hmm.
customer service, and so I got introduced to Arizona Financial Credit Union, which I did have a family friend who worked
Mm-hmm.
here, and she was like, "It's night
Okay.
and day." So that's how I ended up working at Arizona Financial Credit
And
Union.
you've been working there for just around 4 years, right?
Yep, I just hit my 4-year mark at
Nice.
Arizona Financial, so yeah,
What
and
would you
so
say are the main difference that you have been seeing between banks and credit unions? And I'm asking you this question because in the first episode, Tyler and I were talking about the differences between
hmm
banks and credit unions, more from an educational perspective for our audience. But I want to hear your opinion on that
No,
too.
yeah. I think you bring up a really good point, and I feel like the audience should hear about it. When it comes to being in a big bank, it's
Mm-hmm.
all about making money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about what is good for the customer. In this case, credit unions, we
Mm-hmm.
call them members. It's not about building that relationship with them. It's not about
Okay.
what makes sense for them or what fits their budget. It's
Mm-hmm.
about just making money. And so when I came to the credit union, I was like, oh my gosh, we're not going to offer nothing that doesn't make sense to our members. We're not going
Uh-huh.
to put them for failure or financial burden. We're
Yeah.
going to offer things, and we're going to give them that financial literacy that
Mm-hmm.
big banks are not doing.
Yeah, and it's always about finding solutions and not only ways to make more money. So I think that's another
Mm-hmm.
thing that I like too, because sometimes when I have had conversation with leaders of this
Yep.
organization, we have also talked about sometimes that hey, it can be stressful if the associate is giving the member all the reasons why this might not work instead of giving them okay, so hey, this might not be working now, but let's give it a try with this another option,
Yep.
right? So it's more about understanding the need of the
Yep.
member, and then yeah, as a consequence, it's making money, right? But the
Yep.
main thing is also that person-to-person interaction.
Yeah, no, you bring up really good points. And in my role, I train personal bankers, and that's the one thing
Mm-hmm.
that we talk about. Don't touch your computer for a couple of minutes until
Uh,
you actually talk to the member, ask meaningful questions, be able to get to the bottom of what their financial goal is in order to set them up for success.
that's true. Yeah, because if you want the member to trust the banker, you
Yep,
gotta earn that trust first. And
exactly.
by looking at a computer and seeing the person as a number instead of as a member and
hmm
knowing them by their names, I think what you're doing is nice. So I want to move a little bit now towards building professional relationships. And even though our audience are people from the credit union movement, I think many of the things that we are going to be talking about in these episodes can apply to any industry.
hmm
So when we talk about professional relationships, before, and I'll tell you, when I was a student, that we had like a lot of conferences, that we had a lot of networking events, if we can call them like
Yep.
that. I originally thought, and I'm telling you, like I was 18, 19, and I was thinking that, hey, this is about getting the business card, getting
Oh.
to know who they are, but also getting them to know me. And then what can I win from this interaction? And I think
hmm
that's the education that many people had growing up. And then as I was starting progressing in my educational journey, it was like, oh, it's not really about that. It's more about having friends, it's more about helping others. And then as a
hmm
consequence, you might get help from them without even needing to ask, right?
Yep.
And I think that also translates into the credit union world, but also to any industry, that the mindset shouldn't be about what's in it for me,
Yeah.
what can I win, what can I get from you. It's more
Yeah.
about, okay, so tell me about what you're working on and tell me how I can help you, right? And this
Mhm.
is an approach that one of my best friends told me, because he was one of my classmates, but he's like 10 years older than me, so he was like my mentor, and he
Oh,
told me
okay.
that whenever you show up to a conference, whenever you show up to a reunion, it's always this question: what are you working on and how can I help you?
Yeah.
And he told me that that has been one of the best strategies for him. Tell me about how it has been for you. Tell me your perspective on this, and
Yeah.
tell me about how you see the networking in that industry specifically.
Yeah, first I want to say everything that you said I really loved. But and when it comes to professional relationships, I think we got to ask ourselves, instead of saying, how can I impress this person? Ask yourself, what can I learn from this person?
Mm.
And I think that a lot of us are really scared of networking. I know I was. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if I say something wrong, or what if I, say something that I wasn't supposed to? But it's all about making that connection,
Mm-hmm.
as staying, asking questions,
Mm-hmm.
staying curious of that person that you're going to be connecting with, and then being consistent. So one thing that has worked with me is that, specifically, is being consistent, is that because I want to build my personal brand, I want to also, talk about the things that I'm doing at the credit union.
Mm-hmm.
I like to follow up, making sure that that I'm keeping that network
Okay.
open. But again, it's all about learning. It's keeping your mind open, to being able to learn from that person, because a lot of the times, a person that we might admire or we want to be able to connect with, we're a little bit intimidated, especially when it comes to possibly titles. But just keep reminding yourself, is like, what can I learn from this person, and how can that benefit me in my current role or my future roles? And yeah, just wanting to be open to always learning.
Yeah, what you say about titles really resonates with me, because I used to think that the higher the title, the more nervous I'm going to be,
Yeah.
right? And I remember before the podcast, I was telling you that in my personal podcast, I was
Yes.
interviewing a lot of people during the summer. It was in 2023, and many of them were people with like these super fancy titles. But then I remember that I was like, okay, so I'm the host of this podcast. It's a conversation, and then I think that's what helped me remove the imposter syndrome, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what helped me
Yeah.
think they all are the same. And there was one time specifically, and that was a year later in the summer of 2024, that I was talking to, I won't reveal his name, but he's a billionaire, right? And he told
Yeah.
me that, Luis, everyone is the same. They all go to the bathroom, they all go eat breakfast, they all wash the dishes, they
Yeah.
all cook, they all walk and get dressed. It's like, we are the same. It's just that some people have this title, some people have like this.
Yeah.
And he was telling me this more in a way because he wanted me to or he wanted to encourage me to not think less about me. And I think that's something that might happen just with other people in general, because sometimes we might fall into that
Mm-hmm.
too, even unconsciously, in which in times in which we think that, hey, so this person has this title, this person might be making X amount of money, this person might have this circle of influence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you might also have something to offer,
Yeah.
because it can be like the simplest thing. Sometimes it can be, oh, I don't know how to set up a meeting, can you help me understanding Outlook? Or, hey, I
Yeah.
don't know how to edit this video, can you help me with this? It's also about understanding that what we can bring to the table, it's also meaningful to others.
Yeah.
And not everything has to be like extremely polished or extremely like super fancy or really
Mm-hmm.
well wrapped,
Yeah.
right? So it's also about understanding our value too.
You bring up a good point. Understanding what we bring to the table and understanding our value, because that's one of the things that I personally, have been struggling with. Is like, I have so much to give. I want to be able to help so many people. But would they be willing to listen, or what,
Mm,
what specific value am I bringing? And so it's definitely a really good thing to work on that, and
mhm,
be able to know that you are here because you are putting people first. Our CEO, Amy, she's always talking about in new employee training is see the person in front of you. And that always resonates with me because it's not about seeing, the title. It's
mhm,
about seeing that person. And if you're
mhm.
seeing that person, you can make a genuine connection with them. And then again, that person could be your mentor. If you look up to them, that could be someone who you can be like. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you, or how have you been building your personal brand? Like,
Oh,
what do you put focus on?
so it all started with me being part of being a WOW lead. And so let me explain what WOW is.
Hmm.
It's an employee engagement group that we do have at Arizona Financial.
Okay.
WOW is Women of the Workplace. So I became a lead about 2 years ago. And so I started seeing that with the material that we were putting up together for these meetings, people were so appreciative of
Mm,
being able to bring like topics to women in Arizona Financial.
mhm.
And so that's when I was like, I want to do more,
Okay.
because at the time I was a training mentor for our call center. And so I was mentoring others, helping them build that confidence, being able to be phone ready, or
Okay.
ready for the phone. And so I was like, if I can do this, and I just believe in myself more and just know my worth, I can do more. And so I've been networking. I'm part of the Young and Empowered Women, so it's a
Ah,
nonprofit
okay. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
organization. So I became a member, so I'm cohort 12, and
Okay.
so it's definitely just it is hard because, like I said, networking is really scary, putting yourself out there. But as you are making these real connections with other people, you realize that um, that you can offer, that you are worthy of being able to offer, um, you know, what to other women. In this case, it's women. But yeah, I'm just really excited to be able to continue my work with the community, and what we're doing here at the credit union means a lot.
One point that you're bringing about also showing that you're worth it, that you're
Yeah.
worth to be listened. I think when people start to understanding what you can bring to the table, I think networking naturally becomes easier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking of an analogy when you were talking about this, or I was thinking about something, so I'm gonna tell you this
Yeah.
analogy. But I play baseball, and in baseball, sometimes I would say always there's a lot of competition, right? Because if the team is 15 or 18
Mhm.
and there's only 9 players, then that means that half of the team is gonna be in the bench, right? And to the new, if you walk into this new team, and you know that you're good, you know that you can play this position well, you know that you can hit, I don't know, for power, for average, for whatever. Your team do, don't know that, right?
Yeah.
Your team doesn't know that you're able to do all of that. So something that I have realized too is that sometimes, so I have been in both situations in which I walk into teams and since day one I'm doing really well, but I have also walked into teams in which it takes me so many games to get into the
Mhm.
rhythm. So I have experienced that in these seasons in which I have had a really slow start on, or when I have been on a slump, then I don't feel like my teammates can really rely on me. Like if the game is on the line, I
Mhm.
know they won't trust me to take a pinch hit at bat, right?
Yeah.
But I have also been on the other side of the coin that yeah, since day one, I'm doing really well. And then I can see sometimes that transition between, oh, I feel that I'm being respected just because I'm producing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the same in the professional world. Like the more you're proving your
Mhm.
value, and it's not like, oh, I'm working so hard to prove myself, but it's more about your results are
Yeah.
speaking, your personality, your approach to
Mhm.
people, your values. I think that's when trust is earned.
Yeah.
I just like this baseball analogy. Yeah.
No, I
I
really love
usually
it
use
too.
baseball analogies for everything. So.
No, I love it, and it's an easier way for people to understand. No, yeah, definitely. It is something big being able to uh, go out there and being able to just and again in my role being able to mentor new hires, get them ready for when
Hmm.
they need to go into their department is just very very important. And so what you bring to the table, and it takes for someone to realize, like you said, what I can do. And so,
Hmm.
and you know what, I also think in the professional world it also takes a good leader to be able to see that you're capable. And the
Mm.
reason that I say that is because when I came to the credit union, I was kind of just like looking for a 9 to 5.
Mhm.
I didn't know that I would be where I'm at right now, and it all started with just one leader believing in myself
Mhm.
and building that confidence from there, and
Okay.
being able to be like, you know what, like sometimes it does take for other people to see what you can bring into in this case the credit union. And she was able to see, Wendy, you can do this.
Mhm.
And so that boosts my confidence, and now I'm in the main training team of the credit union, and I'm just like really really happy to be in the position where I'm at because I can mentor others.
I'm thinking about another analogy right now,
Yeah,
but
no, yeah, I love it.
this one is not baseball related. But first, let me ask you this question: how do you measure how confident you're getting?
I think it's the more projects I want to be in.
Okay.
And so in my current role, I've been here for about a year. And at first, being able to collaborate with other departments was
Mhm.
going to be something that I was like, man, I'm going to try to stay away from. And so as I was, getting to know my role and being able to take on more trainings, I started, kind of getting to know what the team was
Mm.
doing. And so for me, it's being able to say yes to projects, to collaborations with other departments, and that's a beautiful thing for me because
Mhm.
now I'm like building also like collaborations and relationships with other teams. And I haven't been on too many projects so far, but as I'm starting a
Uh-huh.
couple, then I'm like, you know what? Like these people really care for what I have to say, or maybe, hey, let's not add this. And so that has definitely built my
Okay.
confidence to be able to be like, I want to do more. I want to be able to
Mhm.
be there for my team and support my team. So let's get on that. So that's
Mhm.
one thing that for me, it's where I'm measuring my confidence to be able to go on more projects.
Yeah, and that's really important because I have also heard from leaders, just in general, not talking about specific organization, but when, for example, if you're asking, let's say that you're in a leadership position and you're asking your team to do something, and your team does it at 80% of what you would have done it, it's better to keep it that way instead of having it at 100%, but you're doing it. So
Yeah.
that means that if you would have told your team, oh, this is not what I want to do this, then you're losing that confidence because, of course, no one is going to do it 100% the way you want it,
Yeah.
but it's what's the opposite word of empowering?
Um,
Like diminishing
yeah,
or
yeah.
probably
Mhm.
diminishing that, hey, so I put all of this effort, I
Yeah.
didn't meet the expectation this time, and you're telling me that everything is wrong. In case that's the case, then
Mhm.
it's probably not empowering. So that's something that I have perceived too because I have been on both sides. I remember in 2019 I was leading a project with some of my friends from from Mexico in which we were going to hospitals in, it was a few days before Christmas, and we had done like a big fundraising,
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
we raised like 300 toys. We are going to go to 6 hospitals, and we all were dressed up as superheroes and princesses,
Oh my gosh,
and
that's
of
so
course the
amazing.
girls as princesses. I didn't dress as a princess, but I remember that there was a point in which I was fundraising a lot, and a few of my friends were not really putting that effort.
Gotcha.
And then I remember that to one of them, I was really hard on her, and then she told me that, oh no, it was me. I told her that, hey, I don't want you in the project anymore. and then she
Mm,
felt really bad. Of course, I was
yeah.
19, so I had some excuse right there. But then I had not a one-on-one with her, but I told her like, hey, like let's go get coffee, and then I told her like, hey, like I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it was all on me, like that was my bad, and then it was like a leadership lesson learned on the hard way for me,
Mm-hmm.
and then later on I started to understand. And when you are the owner of the business, you can expect others to have the same level of passion. You can expect
Yeah.
others to have the same drive as you because you own the business. And I'm paraphrasing, I think this came from Gary Vee. And I remember that he was saying something along these lines. I'm paraphrasing, but it's really about understanding hey, you're the leader and you're in the highest position, like hierarchy wise.
Yeah.
So you can expect the same level of commitment from someone who is in the lower level or in
Yeah.
the mid level, right? So I think there's also a leadership lesson there, right?
No, yeah. And I like what you said because also like when it comes to us, you know, our leaders do need to trust us.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're able to kind of give you the space to be able to
Mm-hmm.
go out there and try it and learn is very important.
Yeah. When it comes to coming back again on the personal brand
Yeah.
topic, how does it look like online?
Online, I so one of the things that I do in my role is also help my leaders support the mentors across the credit
Mm-hmm.
union. And one thing that, because I mostly work from home at the moment, is being consistent. That's going to be the number one thing is being consistent, sending the messages if they're okay. If you said you're going to do something, do it because that could hurt your
Mm-hmm.
brand at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so
Your word is the most important asset, right?
yes. Yes, that is very, very important. So if I were to tell somebody, hey, I'm gonna send you an invite, and if I see my own calendar being pretty full at that moment, I don't overcommit. I'm just gonna be like, hey, in the next couple of days, I'm gonna send you an invite so we can meet. And so that's just gonna be very important is
Okay.
staying consistent and being yeah, being in communication with them. And if something were to go wrong, maybe like you know, you weren't able to make it, then you know, let them know. And
Yeah.
also it's very, very important when it comes to the personal brand to, if they're asking you questions, anybody would be asking you questions and you don't know, don't
Mm-hmm.
say just I don't know. Just say, you know, I let me find that out for
Yes.
you. And so let give me some time to be able to find out because that's also going to be very important. Like I don't know
Mm-hmm.
at the moment, but I can find out for you, and I know the
Mm-hmm.
resources that I need.
Yeah, and many times it happens that we're asked things that are not really related to the work that we do, or we don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
Simple as that, right? But it's I have never been comfortable with the answer of that's not my job.
Oh my
That's above
gosh.
my
Yep.
pay grade or something like that.
Yep.
I think that's one of the worst things
Yes.
to hurt
Yeah.
yourself
Yep.
because you might be think about it like short term, okay, one less responsibility. Long
Mm-hmm.
term, think about the word of mouth. Oh, this person is not reliable. I was just asking for something small, and instead of finding a way for me, they said
Yeah.
that's not my job or whatever, right? So I think this type of approach is something that I would encourage everyone
Oh
not to
yeah.
have, right? Because it's more about what can I do to help you. It's not, yeah, I might not be able to help you, simple as
Mm-hmm.
that, but I'm gonna try to find at least someone who might be able to help you,
Yep.
and it won't require us that much time, right, or effort.
Yep. Yeah, one of my leaders actually says that the people who are most likely to be able to advance in their careers are the people not saying that's not my job.
Uh huh.
And so and that's just one of the things that I feel like my department is really good at
Mhm.
is being able to be like, hey, where can I help you, or what can I do to maybe help you with this project, or move along this project.
Mhm.
So I think it's really, really important what you said is my job description doesn't define me, and if I want to be
Mhm.
able to do a little more on supporting
Mhm.
others, then I'm gonna do it.
And is the best way, going back to one of our initial conversation topics, is not about where you are right now, but where
Yeah,
you can be in the future,
of
right?
course.
It's also, I think there's a quote that says, dress for the job you want, not
Oh
for the
yeah.
job that you currently have, right? But I think that the meat behind it is
Mhm.
act the way instead of just
Yeah.
dress the way, right?
Yeah.
Like act properly, so that way it's a way for you to prove yourself that you can be doing more, that you can be trusted more.
Yeah.
And how are you going to do this? By taking on more responsibilities, of course, understanding your capacity and your bandwidth, but at the same time being able to say yes to the opportunity.
Mhm.
And even when the opportunity is not there, create your own opportunity.
Yeah.
Because if you are not looking for opportunities, probably that means that there are not opportunities at the moment, so your job is to create it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, and kind of adding to the personal brand too, you nailed it when it's like, um, how do you want to be seen is something that,
Mm-hmm.
again, my leaders always tell me, how
Mm-hmm.
do you want to be seen? My department is the HR segment, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's like when um, when we're together as a team, yeah, we do like team building,
Mm-hmm.
and we like to have fun. But when it comes to going out there, how do you want to be seen? How do you want a new
Uh-huh.
hire to see you,
Yeah.
as in being in the training team? And I think it's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wendy, I have enjoyed the conversation.
No, thank you.
Is
Thank you
there
for
anything
inviting me.
that you would like to add that it's important for our audience to understand, specifically about personal brand and basically building your reputation in the industry?
No, yeah. So I just wanted to add, just again, being consistent, being able to follow up with what you're promising. And then if you genuinely are passionate about helping others, see how you can develop or what courses you can take. We have a
Mm-hmm.
university in Arizona Financial, and I'm just always looking for soft skills that I can, that can help me.
Okay.
And so, just invest in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we as a credit union always have our members in mind, and if I can help up here being
Mm-hmm.
able to do something and have the member in mind, which is going to help us at the end of
Yeah.
the day, it's just my number one priority. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
being here today, and for everyone who's listening. Share this episode with someone. Simple as that. If you like it, if you share it, that's gonna help the project grow. So let's do it. And see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.